Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited because today we have our first special guest, which is my friend Keri. And we're going to be doing a special guest the last Monday of the month and kind of switch up the call a little bit. So normally our call is just kind of relaxing about breathing, about doing a little bit of intention work and mindset work. But today we're going to talk a little bit about self-alchemy, and I'm so excited. And then Keri's going to do a little meditation for us. So the other thing is today, I'm going to tell you guys a little story that happened to me yesterday that really reinforced for me that everything is alive, everything is always moving, everything is always vibrating and changing, everything is malleable. And so let's start to, oh, yay. Hi, Regina. So good to see you. Let's start to close our eyes. When we close our eyes, we get rid of 80% of our outside stimulus, meaning that we are able to go within and stop responding to stuff in our world that we already have programs for in our brain. So going within, sending your energy down into the earth. You can feel your feet on the floor if you wish, but just intending to connect yourself in this time, this reality, this world. This is where your soul is focused right now. So opening up to the gifts of the reality, the guidance, the physical things we get to do and experience. And placing some attention on your pelvic bowl, which is your seat, everything in your seat, including the bottom of your spine and what we would call the gut, the front tummy or the gut. And this is where we feel that tug, that pull, that feeling of yes, that feeling of yes. And we'll do 3 breaths today. And as you breathe, if you'd like a visualization, your visualization can be the oxygen molecule that's floating through your blood, and then it pops off through the membrane, pops into a cell to give it energy. So that is the visualization. If you want to use that today as we breathe, we'll do 3 breaths. And remembering that when you allow your exhale to be a little longer, you allow more carbon dioxide to stay in your blood, which actually opens up your blood vessels, lowers your heart rate, lowers your blood pressure. So allowing a little bit more carbon dioxide to move through. So just sending your energy down into the earth. Take a nice deep breath in, sending it all the way down to your toes. And a nice slow exhale out the mouth. Nice deep inhale in the nose, sending it all the way down to your toes. Seeing that molecule pop off into your cell, giving it energy. And a nice slow exhale out the mouth. One more time, nice deep breath in the nose, sending it all the way down. Feeling more powerful and connected to your body and to the earth. And a nice slow exhale out the mouth. And placing some attention on your feet, seeing energy come up from the earth, coming up through your feet into your legs, coming up through your knees and your thighs, feeling the power of your stance, seeing yourself walking in the direction you'd like to go this week. And this energy moves up to your pelvic bowl, front and back. Clearing any energy away that feels heavy. Moves up to your tummy, your solar plexus chakra. Just allowing yourself to clear anything here, let it go, let it return to source. And moving up to the heart space, the chest, and your upper back, and down your arms. Letting your heart burst open to your inner wisdom. This energy moves up to your throat. I speak my truth. It's safe to speak my truth. This energy moves up to your face and the back of your head, letting anything here relax. And the energy bursts out the top of your head, and it trickles down all past your body, down to the earth, comes back up your feet. You feel this nice flow around your body. So you can keep your eyes closed if you like. I'm just going to tell you my experience that you can use this week if it resonates with you. So I'm lucky enough to be staying very close to my college campus, which is in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and there are just beautiful redwood trees all around. And yesterday, I went up there to sit by the theater arts buildings, because that's what was my major. And there's a beautiful stage outside, and there's actually redwoods that come up through the stage. And as I was sitting there, I got this very strong message to put my hand on the redwood that was next to me. And when I did that, I visualized my hand in the tree, kind of transferring this energy back and forth. And what happened next was amazing. I felt this warmth in my hand, exactly where it was touching the tree. I felt almost like a tingling or a sensation of pins and needles, but very light. It was pleasant. And I also felt this deep, deep sense of peace and grounding, stronger than I felt in probably a couple of months. And it was something that was subtle yet profound, where it reminded me that everything is always moving and vibrating and changing. And I had an acting teacher years ago that told me, there's no such thing as a freeze. There's really no such thing as a pause either. Everything is always moving. Even my brother is a physicist, and I asked him about this, and he said, yes, even at freezing temperatures, there's still movement going on. So remembering that is you. You're always vibrating, you're always sending out something, you're always receiving. So remembering to always clear your energy field, make sure you're coming back to your own sense of yourself, your own sacredness. And if you are feeling any sense of that, ooh, yeah, this light edge got me definitely. If you're feeling any sense of that, you're up in your head, or like, oh God, I am so overwhelmed in my mind. If there is a tree nearby, go connect with the tree for just a few minutes. I guarantee you, you will feel better. And there was something that was magnetic that was going on, and just reminded me that that's what we all are, all just atoms moving at certain speeds. So just remembering that, remembering how powerful you are. So I am so excited to introduce my beautiful friend, Keri. Keri and I met because we're both writers, and we used to write for a journal called Elephant Journal. And so she's an amazing writer, you guys. She wrote a beautiful memoir. I'm kind of obsessed with it. I left the link in the email, so you should check it out. So Keri, welcome. She's going to be talking to
Thank
us today
you.
about personal alchemy, and the floor is all yours, Keri.
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks so much for having me. It's so good to see you and connect with you. It's been a little while. And is it true that your mom is on this call? I want to send a special
Yeah,
hello to
she's
her
there.
too. Um, so alchemy is what I've been studying since the pandemic. I mean, when someone says, "What did you do during the pandemic?" I say, "I studied alchemy." There's a too long story to tell about why that exactly happened, and of course, alchemy is a too big topic to tackle in a brief period of time. But what I wanted to kind of introduce today, that has been fascinating for me in terms of my own journey of healing and wholeness, is that the language of alchemy is so different than our current modern cultural ego language. And so I thought it would be fun to just take one small topic and show the difference between maybe the way the culture approaches it and then the way alchemy would approach it. And I think Liz and I talked about the topic of self-worth, which is such an important thing in times like today when I mean it's just such a journey to everything in the culture tells us to not feel good about ourselves and that we're not enough and that we need this and so when you seek out information about how to, well, I'm going to use the word right now, boost your self-worth, it's all in this language of growth, of building, boosting, expanding. It's all about all bit of more, right? That the answer is in getting more, boosting your self-worth. So like inflating it almost. And I think about, the statue of David and how Michelangelo came to that statue. And he didn't get to it by adding things to it, right? He got to it by chipping away what didn't belong. And therein lies sort of, I think, sometimes where we get stuck in the self help, personal growth worlds is that we start to think that the answer is always about more. And that is also the language of the ego. The ego is never satisfied, will never be satisfied. It doesn't matter how many accolades you get, how many titles behind your name, how many fans love you, how much money you have. The ego will never, ever be satisfied. And so when we fall into the trap of of languaging the way the ego would language, we too will never be satisfied. And so when it comes to self-worth, what ends up happening, because we've been taught that it needs to be boosted and built up, we end up building up artificial types of self-worth. There are several of these, and I think the funnest way to look at them is to look at them in the culture, because sometimes it's hard for us to see it in ourselves. But when we look out to the culture where there are archetypes, right? They're just characters, then we can see something really clearly. And then we can start to take that back to ourselves. So as we talk about this little story, think about your own journey of self-worth in different times in your lives. So there's really four different types of self-worth. There's one that's called combative. And this is the one that we usually get when we're teenagers, right? So our combative self-worth, we feel good about ourselves as long as we're not them, we're pushing off of someone else. It's like the teenager kind of self-worth, pushing off mom, pushing off dad. I don't want to be like. And in that differentiation, we find some sense of self-worth. Think about the movie The Breakfast Club, which I'm guessing we've all seen. Think about the kind of self-worth that the characters at the beginning of that movie have. You've got, the rebel whose whole identity is established by how he doesn't fit in, right? And this is how he walks through life. It's his armor, it's his protection. It's not real self-worth. We can really see that when we're watching the movie. We know that deep inside there is insecurity, but it's getting him through this certain time in his life. I have a 23-year-old daughter right now who is establishing her entire identity around pushing off mom. So I'm really, really feeling how much she's needing to build up her idea of worth by being not me. So that's the first kind of self-worth, this combative self-worth based on opposition. The second one is comparative self-worth, and it's similar. We still need other people for it to work, right? So far, both of these require other people. So comparative self-worth is what it sounds like. We feel good about ourselves because we are better than someone else. We got a better grade, got a better opportunity, we have a better job. As long as we can find somebody to feel better than, then we feel okay in ourselves. But the moment we lose that, the moment we lose status, the moment we lose a job, we lose a relationship, the self-worth goes with it. So it's not real self-worth. You see, it's artificial. It's built up. I just keep thinking about clay packed on top of that gorgeous statue of David. There's a quote that I wanted to share with you here from Psychology Today. It says, if we compare ourselves and conclude that we are better than the other, we may feel superior, contemptuous, and dismissive. We may not want to connect with someone so beneath us. Again, the cord of human connectedness feels sliced, and we are once again alone in our superiority. So this is probably not a kind of self-worth we want to work on building up, this comparative self-worth. Yet, there's been times in all of our lives where we have had this. And I know that you can think of some times in your life where that was how you got by. That is how you felt good about yourself, but by comparison to others. The third one we know pretty well, and that's conditional self-worth. Conditional self-worth is I will feel good about myself when or if. And so this is the self-worth that moves in and out like the tide. Someday you feel good about yourself because all of these good things happen. Other times you don't feel good about yourself because nothing good seemed to happen that day. So this is also an artificial, temporary, ego-based type of self-worth. What we want to do instead is reach for something that's intrinsic. The language of building and boosting and growing is all about lost my 1 minute. Okay, are we back? Okay. But what we want to find is that intrinsic self-worth that arises naturally from the soul. When you were a child, you didn't need anything or anybody to feel good about yourself. When you were a child, you just were. You were in your body. You were in yourself naturally. That's where we want to return to. The language of alchemy is more about rebirthing, reestablishing, reimagining, and reuniting. What I believe is that we are worthy in and of ourselves exactly where we are and who we are right now, that we do not need to boost it or grow it. What we do need to do is take down the barriers that prevent us from feeling our intrinsic self-worth. Now, how do we go about doing that? I've got 11 ways here, and I'll go through them fairly briefly. One is to find self-worth role models. Find those people in your circles and in your lives that do have that intrinsic self-worth, that you can just tell the ups and downs of life may, they're going to feel them, but they don't impact their core self-worth. They don't let it affect who they are. So find those people and imagining how they navigate rejection, for example, how they navigate disappointment. And in the beginning, we mimic that. And that's a healthy thing to do in the beginning. I've got a couple people like that, and I'll say, I'm channeling my inner Christina. And that's just my way of knowing that I'm trying to move through a certain situation based on how I've seen my role model do it. Secondly, connect with your deeper self. We have to find that connection with soul so that we can dismantle that attachment to ego. It's not about destroying the ego or beating it down. I think those are languages too that we need to reconsider. I think there is a healthy pairing we can have with the ego, but the soul needs to be the driving force when it comes to things like self-worth. Third, heal guilt and shame. Guilt and shame are what drive a lot of those artificial types of self-worth. So the more we work on healing those emotions, communicating with them, working with them, bringing them into resolution, into wholeness. Next, focus on giving. I don't know about you, but I feel so good just naturally about myself when I can be of assistance and service to others in the place where my gifts lie, particularly. So the more you focus on giving, that boosts the self-esteem, and I just used that language, there we go. that reveals the self-esteem. It's a work in progress. Number 5, practice mindfulness and meditation. It sounds like you're all doing that. The more we can just sit in the silence, the more we can hear that little voice. The reason that you felt that tree call to you, Liz, was because you were connected in your meditation. If you were too focused on what somebody else was doing in the park, you would have missed that call. So that's really beautiful. Invest in yourself. Self-love, self-care, these are reciprocal kinds of activities that go right along with self-worth. So the more you love yourself, the more you're just going to naturally feel worthy of that love. Surround yourself with people who see and reflect your work. This is the work of alchemy too, is releasing people and situations that do not serve you. You're not doing yourself any favors. You don't owe anybody anything. So this is a part of letting go, breaking down. The language of alchemy is about breaking down, disillusion, facing the dragon, being willing to put ourselves in the crucible. This is all the kind of language that is so different from just, faking it till you make it, which is one of my least favorite phrases, which I could go on a tirade about that one. Daily self-talk. Here's a little tip. When you talk to yourself, use your name and be very personal. Studies actually show that when you move away from I language and you use your name, it actually really helps make it more positive. So you say, you've got this, Keri. You've got this, Liz, right? Instead of I've got this, use your name. It really helps just create that connection to yourself. Surround yourself with beauty. I mean, when we surround ourselves with beauty, we are connected to our souls and we remember who we are. We remember that we belong. And at that point, you really lose that need to have something more. The myth of more falls away. Your essentialness shines through. Spending time alone really helps. Um, Especially it helps when you're in those early stages of breaking away from the other types of self-worth, because those other types of self-worth are so dependent on other people. When we're alone, it gives us that opportunity to really ask ourselves these deeper questions about who we are, why we're here, and what we bring. And keep testing it. Nothing helps us reveal our self-worth than having it broken down. Put yourself in challenging situations. Let yourself be heartbroken. Let yourself fail. A lot of our culture wants to keep us safe from these things and to avoid it. And when it happens, to pick ourselves up as quickly as possible. But an alchemical way would be to bring yourself into these spaces where failure is possible. Because the more these things happen, the more we're chipped away, the more our inner David is revealed. So that's just kind of a brief summary of that. I do have a full article on this I'd like to send to you, Liz, to send out, where I go into detail a little bit more on each of those. But for our last 5 minutes here, what I'd like to do is bring you into a meditation that is specifically designed to move beyond the layers, what in yoga terminology is called the koshas. They're the layers that surround the soul, that protect the soul, but also dampen its light a little bit. So what we're going to do here is move through each of these until we sit for a moment with just our soul. So once again, just find that comfortable seated position and finding that support on equal sides of the sitting bones, a nice tall spine. Maybe roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Shin parallel to the floor, and energy out through the crown of the head. And we'll start first in the Ana Maya Kosha, which is the physical body. So just bringing your awareness into the physical body, all parts of it from head to toe, honoring it, loving it, appreciating it for the experiences that it brings, for the life force energy that it carries. Breathe in, breathe out, feeling the aliveness of your Ana Maya Kosha. And then releasing it, moving inward to the Prana Maya Kosha, which is the layer of breath. And so now just feel yourself as breath body. Just this inhale, just this exhale. Bringing that breath down deep into the belly. Exhaling all the way as the navel comes back towards the spine. Appreciating and honoring the breath body for the experiences that it brings and the life force that it carries. Next, sliding into your Mano Maya Kosha. And this is the layer of your mind, your thoughts, your beliefs, your sense of I-ness that both allows you to experience this world, but also keeps you separate from it. You see it here for both the burden and the gift that it offers us as souls navigating this planet. See the thoughts and the beliefs for what they are, as constructs ideas that may or may not be true, that may or may not serve you. And for now, we honor the Manomaya Kosha for the life experiences it brings, for the life force it carries. And now we reveal the Vijnana Maya Kosha. This is the home of the intuition and the higher mind. Part of you that knows when a tree is speaking to you. Part of you that knows when it's time to move from a conditional or combative or comparative type of self-worth to an intrinsic self-worth. Feel this part of yourself, your wisdom, your knowing, appreciating it for the experiences it brings and honoring it for the life force it carries. And now, as that Vijnana Maya Kosha falls away, we reveal the Ananda Maya Kosha. And this is the tiniest barrier, the thinnest barrier around the soul. Feel here your true self, your innateness, your enoughness, the place from where your self-worth naturally flows. The place where you know you don't have anything to build. You simply need to reunite, re-inspire, and reawaken. And from here then, we'll slowly move back through the layers, coming back into our intuitive level, the Vijnana Maya Kosha, back into the Mano Maya Kosha, the level of mind and thought, the Prana Maya Kosha as you take a nice deep breath, and the Anamaya Kosha as you gently roll your shoulders, wiggle your fingers and toes, and let your eyes gently open.
Thank you so much, Keri. That was beautiful. Will you also
So
send
welcome.
me with the article, could you send me the bullets too? Because I'll send it out to
Absolutely.
everyone.
Happy to.
Wow, you guys, that was so beautiful, wasn't it? I'm so thankful to you, Keri, for your speech, and that was gorgeous. Your meditation was amazing. So
Oh,
I'm so
good.
glad we recorded these because I'm going to send the replay out. I'll put it up on YouTube so this can reach more people. If there's anyone
Yay.
that you guys think this could be helpful for, please share it. And I will send out Keri's information with her article and the bullets that she went through for this. So this was beautiful. I'm like, I have chills through my whole body. So
Mm,
thanks, you guys. Have a beautiful week. If you like, as always, you can email me with any questions and we'll be back next week. Okay. Love you
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you so much, Keri. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.